Okay, assalamu alaikum. Namaskar. Shabai ke don nomato janachi. Hello everyone, I'm Igarashi Rina, curator at the Fukuoka Asian Art Museum. Thanks to Diana, Samdani Foundation, and Amara. Thank you for inviting me here. The first time I came to Bangladesh was 1994. Since then, I have kept working on the kanta embroidery and Bangladesh art until now. I'm really honored to be invited here, my second home, Bangladesh. Today I'm going to talk about the Asian Art Show in Fukuoka, Japan, as a case study of exhibition which was held in non-Western region prior to 1989. And interestingly, this AAS has a mutual influence each other with your Bangladesh Biennale, as Diana mentioned earlier. Could I have a next slide, please? Okay. A milestone in the exhibition history of Asian Art Japan is the Asian Artist Exhibition, which was organized at the inauguration exhibition of the Fukuoka Art Museum in 1979. Asian Art Show AAS was held almost every 5 years until the fourth show in 1994, and it was followed by the Fukuoka Asian Art Triennial. Based on the accumulation of research on Asian art through AAS, the Fukuoka Asian Art Museum opened in 1999, where I am working now. So I believe AAS played a pivotal role in connecting Fukuoka with modern and contemporary art, Asian art. Next, please. Initially, the American Contemporary Art Show was planned as an inauguration exhibition of FAM. However, it was cancelled and the new idea of Asian Art Show was developed. Behind the realization of AAS, there were two key persons who had strong interest in Asia through the Pacific War. The decision of whole AAS brought a turning point for Fukuoka, not to follow the trend of looking through the West, through the capital city Tokyo, but directly to Asia. Next, please. For my presentation, first I will share a brief background why and how Fukuoka has been interfacing with Asia. Second, I'm going to talk about how the first Asian art exhibition was prepared in the 70s. Third, the practice and the structure and its curatorial changes of the first to fourth Asian art shows. And last will be the conclusion. Okay, let's, next please. Okay, why Asia in Fukuoka? Next, please. Why has a local city, Fukuoka, started to focus on Asia? The Fukuoka has been historically a gateway from and to Korea and China due to its geographical position. As you can see, the Fukuoka is located in the southern part of Japan, and then Japan, and then Dhaka is there. And then if we visit the Seoul in Korea, it takes only 1.5 hours by flight. But if we go to Tokyo, our capital city, but it takes 2 hours to go. So it means the visiting Asian city is much closer and cheaper than visiting our capital city, Tokyo. So Fukuoka is a geographically convenient city for visiting Asian cities. Next, please. Okay. The second reason why Asia in Fukuoka is an Asia-centered strategy for Fukuoka City. In 1987, Fukuoka City government set the policy that aimed to make Fukuoka a hub city in Asia. It was the turning point for the city policy interfacing with Asia. Based on the policy, the Asian Pacific Exposition Fukuoka was held. The year 1989 was the special year for Fukuoka as well. It was the 100 years anniversary of municipalization of local government in Fukuoka as a city. So that this huge event was organized as a part of strategy for the internationalization of Fukuoka city. And actually, it created lots of opportunity for exchanges between Fukuoka and Asia. Next, please. From the next year, in 1999, the Fukuoka city government started to organize many Asian cultural programs for mutual understanding with Fukuoka and Asia. And after almost 30 years has passed, they are still continuing until now. Next, please. And lastly, the third and important reason why Asia in Fukuoka is to appreciate the achievement of Fukuoka Art Museum. About 10 years prior to the Asian strategy of the city, Fukuoka Art Museum had started working on Asia through exhibitions. This museum's achievement was considered as a pioneer approach and appreciated by the city government. Then finally, in 1999, the Asian department of the Fukuoka Art Museum became a new museum, Fukuoka Asian Art Museum. Okay, let's move on to the main part. Okay, the birth of Asian Artist Exhibition at the Fukuoka Art Museum, the shift from American contemporary art to Asian art. Next, please. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, eventually in 1989, Asian Art Show was considered as a part of Asia's strategy of Fukuoka City. Then prior to the decision of the city policy, why was the Asian Artist Exhibition chosen as the inauguration of Fukuoka Art Museum? In the 70s in Japan, after the post-war rebuilding and the rapid economic growth in the 60s, each local government had started to establish their own public museums. Fukuoka City and the people in Fukuoka expected to have their own public museum as a symbol of matured city. Next, please. The first Asian Artist Exhibition has two parts. The part one was in 1979, introducing modern art from India, China, and Japan. And a year later, part two was held, focusing on contemporary Asian art from 13th country, including Bangladesh. At that time in Japan, the mainstream of art was Western or American art. Many Japanese art critics thought there were no contemporary art in Asia, but they just have traditional crafts or antiques. So, in Fukuoka as well, American Contemporary Art Show was planned. And the museum sent a curator to America for research. However, Fukuoka City Mayor announced to have Asian Art Show for the opening of Fukuoka Art Museum. Next, please. To realize Asian Art Show instead of American Contemporary Art Show, there were two key main persons who have strong interest in Asia through the Pacific War. The committee member of FAM, the Koike Shinji at the left, and the mayor of Fukuoka City, Shinto Kazuma, the right side. The Koike was involved with the national culture policy making and the first president of Kyushu Institute of Design in Fukuoka, who loved Indian textiles and crafts, also has organized a touring show of Japanese crafts in China under Japanese rule in the 40s. At the committee, he proposed that let Tokyo for taking care of New York and Paris, but we put our face to Asia, and put forward a new idea of Asian Art Show to the Fukuoka City Mayor. And then the mayor agreed with this new idea with great appreciation. From my point of view, it was because of his background. The mayor, Shinto Kazuma, was the last representative of Genyosha in 1944 to 46. Genyosha was a kind of political group organized by samurai in the Fukuoka domain in 1881. And was an influential Pan-Asianist group and a secret society active in the Empire of Japan. So that he has been interested in Asia for a long time. Next, please. So much so that just 2 years before the opening of the Fukuoka Art Museum, finally the mayor officially announced to the public that the opening exhibition of FAM is Asian Art Show. The birth of Asian Art Show brought the important turning point for Fukuoka to shift their attitude toward Asia. Then, after the official announcement, the preparation and the research trip to Asia has started with greater urgency, despite the wish and the interest of museum creators. Also, here I should add it to say there was that the first Asian art show met the strong objections from some local artists. They criticized the show may become the repetition of the Great East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere by the Empire of Japan. Next, please. Anyway, the first research team was sent to India, and it was conducted by the team with creators, Fukuoka artists, and also with Mr. Koike. Next, please. After the research, all reports were shared with other curators. We inherited the 40 years of worth of reports and documents in our archive. Next, please. Prior to the show, the coordinator of each country were invited to Fukuoka to discuss the logistics, the way of selecting artists, and so on. Here you can see the Said Jahangir, the director of Shilpakala Academy. And then, as Patrick mentioned, that maybe the similar the photo, the Albano is on the left, and then Gregorius Siddhartha from Indonesia is on the right side. Since the museum curator did not have enough knowledge on Asian art at that time, so they had to ask the coordinator to select artists. It means, I should say, there was no curation by the museum. But it was also a kind of expressing their respect to Asian curators by making exhibitions together. Next, please. Here it shows the inauguration of Fukuoka Art Museum. And then the mayor, Shinto Kazuma, at the opening reception. And then I think the Shihare from India, the director, is attending the opening. Next, please. And this shows the Asian Artist Exhibition Part 2, focus on contemporary Asian art show. And from Bangladesh, the Murtaza Bashir attend. And from Philippines, Raymond Albano attend for the opening. Next, please. And here it shows the exhibition view, and the Shai Jahangir with the Rashid Chaudhry's work, which was now showing at the Asian Art Biennale in Context exhibition of Dhaka Summit. Next, please. And this was the symposium. The theme is that one. Okay, next, please. Sorry, could you bucket one? Not this one, back. Okay, thank you. Initially, Fukuoka Art Museum did not plan to continue the Asian art show for the next time, since this new idea was introduced by, not by the museum curator, but by the external committee members. However, at the closing party of the show, many coordinators expressed their gratitude and told the importance of the Asian art show for Asian art enthusiastically. Museum director and curator were moved by their speeches. Then, in the end, they started to find a way to continue the Asian art show. Next, please. Now, I would like to share some unknown connection with AAS and the Asian Art Biennale Bangladesh. As I said earlier, the director of Shilpakala Academy, Mr. Sai Jahangir, was the coordinator of first Asian art show in 1980s. The following year, the first Asian Art Biennale Bangladesh was held. According to my interview with Mr. Jahangir, he learned about logistics and management by attending AAS opening in Fukuoka. And then, for the second Asian Art Biennale Bangladesh, the chief curator of Fukuoka Art Museum, Mr. Yasunaga, was appointed as a coordinator and sent 5 Japanese artists to Dhaka, including Fukuoka artists. The Inter-Asia connection started in the 80s through AAS, and it's still going on for more than 35 years now. Thanks to Diana and her colleagues' effort, we could finally utilize our old photos and documents of AAS drawn from our archive and show them for the DAS exhibition, the Asian Art Biennale in Context. And also I am invited to be here to give a talk today. Next, please. Okay. Next, please. Okay, let's see how has the AAS continued to the second and third and fourth show, and how has the curatorial approach changed accordingly. Second Asian Art Show followed a similar curatorial system as the first one. Again, the artist selection was done by the coordinators of each country. Its curation was criticized by local artists and critics that it was just a hodgepodge of artworks. However, what made the second one different was to start the special section, Art of Bali, which was created by the museum curators based on their research. Next, please. Of course, the museum curators have already realized that they had to create the show themselves. Though their background was the Western, American, or Japanese art history, step by step, they took more interest in Asian art. Next, please. And thereafter, not only organizing an Asian art show, but also they launched a small but new series of annual solo show of Asian Artists Today from 1988. They tried to take the initiative in developing Asian art exhibition. Next, please. From the third show, the museum curator has involved with its curation more. Based on the on-site research, for the very first time, they created the exhibition theme, Symbolic Vision in Contemporary Asian Life. In this sense, the third one was a defining moment for the museum, how to interface with Asia. Next, please. As I mentioned earlier, in the same year, the Asian Pacific Exposition was held as a symbolic event of present the Asia-centered strategy of Fukuoka city policy. So that though originally the third show was planned to 1990, but actually was held in a year earlier, 1989, and it was in a bigger scale. Next, please. In the meantime, the second show has toured to Korea and for the inauguration of National Museum and celebrating the 10th Asian Games in Seoul, and so was the third show. Next, please. It was another case history showing the inter-Asia connection through the AAS in the 80s. Next, please. At last, for the fourth show, the museum curator has committed the curation of Asian art show overall by selecting artists and artworks by themselves. And the special section, rickshaw painting, gained the popularity with local people in Fukuoka. And as all you know, from the 90s, as Asian art flourished, also inter-Asia collaboration became so active. Next, please. Okay, next, please. That brings me the end of my talk. Today I introduced how has the Asian Artist Exhibition realized instead of the scheduled American Contemporary Art Show. And through the practices of the following Asian art shows in the 80s, how was the Fukuoka Asia, our inter-Asia connection created? In the 80s, throughout the period of AAS, tradition and modernity based on cultural identity has been a common critical issue for us. Fukuoka has tried to show Asian art as not an imitation of Western art, neither repetition of traditional artwork. Not only Fukuoka curators, but also many Asian artists shared a similar feeling of a conflict of defining Asianness. Sharing the similar cultural situation in a non-Western region, AAS has generated lots of inter-Asia connection institutionally and personally. such as the collaboration of AAS and Bangladesh Biennale and touring AAS to the museum in Korea. Also on an artist and a private level, though I could not introduce today, many exchanges were created and kept going still now. Lastly, the important thing I would like to highlight is, even though AAS was not born from the museum curator's idea, by working together and sharing experience with Asian artists, the inter-Asia mindset was ingrained in each museum curator in Fukuoka. That is what kept our Fukuoka Asian Art Museum endure and then keep the Asian art spirits alive. Thank you.